must be so sick of me by now. Janeway is not the appropriate costume for this afternoon's panel. And how's my helmet head doing? Have you noticed the Disney Princess Mandalorian's about yet? Mando Bell right here. But that is so not why we're here this afternoon. Please welcome to the stage, Alaina Huffman. They're setting the mood.
I like it. I feel like I'm in therapy or something. Tell you all my problems. How are you guys? Awesome. It's Sunday on a con weekend. I got you.
Day 3. Woo!
Yeah.
So, how's Halifax been treating you?
Awesome. The weather's been great. I got beautiful sunshine the last couple of days. A little moody rain today. I like some moody rain. I went to the Freak Lunchbox. Yeah, that's a cool place.
The mothership of candy.
Yeah, and weird things. Hubert got this, oh, you guys can't see this, never mind. It's like pink underpants for a squirrel. 'Cause why not? And some candy. Pink underpants for a squirrel. Yeah, that pink panties that he wears in some canon. I don't get it, but that's okay. No, I know Crowley calls him Squirrel, and I know he wears pink panties in some fan stuff. I don't know why, is what I'm saying.
Oh. Some girl
In real
asked him
life?
to when he was a teenager. I remember that.
Oh. Well, it's made its way into some fantasy writing. That's quite fun.
So we should probably open it up to questions because we don't have a huge amount of time. We've got 2 microphones in the room if you'd like to step up. Someone has to be first.
Otherwise, I'll just talk about myself.
Thank you, Scott.
How you doing? I know you talked about this last night a little bit. Tell us a little bit about the ending of Stargate Universe and why it kind of vanished so ignominiously.
Stargate fans in the house? You know, I loved that show. I made some great friends on that show. I'm still very good friends with with all of the cast. We see each other all the time. It wasn't embraced. Our numbers were fine if you want to talk ratings and network numbers, but to be honest with you, the fans just weren't behind it until it was too late. And I don't run a network. I don't pretend to know how to run a network. But when you send out a press release that's like, oh, hey, the fan base for Atlantis is too old. We're going to replace it with a younger, hipper version. I don't think that's the right attitude. I think it offended some people. So we would go to work every day, and there were people outside protesting, and they're like, we hate you, go away. And I was like, I just want to feed my kids. That's great. And one time we were invited, a bunch of us, some cast and some of the producers were invited to be on board the USS Carl Vinson, which is stationed off the coast of San Diego. And so we went to the Naval Air Force Base and we checked in and we spent one night on this ship, which is an amazing experience. I know you guys are a Navy town. And we were there out to sea. They were about to deploy, and so we had no cell phone service. And I was with Brad Wright, the creator of the show, and John Lennox, one of the producers, and some other people from the show. And we get back to the naval base the next day, and we turn our phones on, and our phones are like, we're so sorry. And we're like, for what? And they're like, oh, they canceled your show. And we're like, oh, it's a week before Christmas. Yeah, we worry about those things too. And that's how we found out our show was canceled. That's how the creator of the show found out his show was canceled. 17 seasons, and that's how he found out. So That sucked. But it was fun while it lasted, so thank you for that. Yeah, I really enjoyed the show. Thank you. Actually, that's exactly what happened. It was the kind of a perfect storm. MGM filed Chapter 11. They put all their money into other projects, and it's interesting because the digital age, I feel like, and we talked a little bit about this, I think you and I did last night at one point. I feel like the television business is where the music business was in 2001, and it's sort of this old method, and now we've got YouTube and Google and all of these independent artists, people like Felicia Day, who are making their own content that have massive fandoms that wouldn't exist in the world if it were up to the studio system. So, and obviously there's an audience for it. So that was exactly what happened. The studio and the network, and there was kind of a perfect storm, a trifecta there. So,
hey there. Do you find, like, when playing a character, the longer that you play them, do you find that character's personality traits, quirks, etc., rubs off on you, or is it the other way around, where you put more of yourself into the character?
Interesting. I think obviously there's a little bit of you in everything. I don't think I have many of Abaddon's qualities. I'll just put that on the record. Yeah, I just look like her. She takes over, though, that one. Like, I walk differently, I talk differently, like, I don't even know where she came from. I love her. I wish I could have a little bit of her, like the good qualities. Her wardrobe, yeah, maybe not the blood. Or the smudged makeup. Although I don't mind it, it's quite fun. But yeah, I think there's a little bit. I mean, I've told this story before. TJ on Stargate used to kind of bother me because I was like, she's so whiny and annoying. And, right? She was always like, I don't know how to do it. And I was just like, yeah, I just, because that's not me. I'm like, oh, you want me to move to another country with all my kids and I'll get them enrolled in school? Okay, let's go. And she's just like, I don't know how to hold the bag. And I don't know, whatever it was. But then I learned a lot from her. I think I myself, took a lot of her qualities of like, maybe I need to ask for help sometimes. Maybe I don't know everything. Yeah, so probably both. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hey.
Hey, I'd just like to say thanks, and you're very talented. My question is, in all the roles you played, which is your favorite and why?
I like to say that's like choosing your favorite child. It depends on the day. Depends on who's had a great sleep. I don't have a favorite, honestly. I love the Black Canary. I thought she was a great character. Yeah. I love that she's being, brought to pop culture, the mainstream pop culture, because I know she's been big in the DC universe for a long time and in geek culture, but I love that Arrow has, portrayed her. I think Katie Cassidy's awesome, and so, yeah, she's gorgeous. So that's a cool character. I like her. She's super complex, and I think that because she's got such a long mythology and a varying mythology because she's been written in so many different books, I like that she's a woman, but she's strong, she's educated, she's smart, she has this weird lovesick relationship with the Green Arrow that's real. I mean, that's life, and so I like the depth of her. I like Abaddon. She's fun. I mean, she was a great character to play, and I loved TJ, and I like all the characters that I play. They're fun. Hey.
Hi. You mentioned on Friday that you and Mark Shepard are friends and get along. Well, he told us he was here last year, and he told us a certain story. So I had to ask this: why'd you try to shoot Mark Shepard?
Of course he did.
He did 2 panels and didn't stop talking for hours. We got a lot of stories.
Listen, I know Mark Shepard. Okay. Mark has to tell that story because I scared the shit out of him. So he's got to make up some story that I meant to do it because he's on camera like, on the gag reel. So the story is, it was an old like Colt gun. It's really heavy. I shoot guns. I mean, I know how to handle a gun. But the director, PJ, he wanted me. It was in the drawer, and he wanted me to just kind of grab it and shoot it from my hip. It's super heavy, and I'm right-handed. So I was like, okay, well then, cock it, because then I can just. He's like, it's a hairpin. I was like, yeah, no, I got it. I'm fine. So first take, I grab it, and it went off in the drawer. And yeah, it scared the crap out of Mark. And then we did it a few more times, and I don't know what ended up happening. I didn't try and shoot Mark. Listen, they shot me in the face on that show. I was like, you guys, you're not, like, this is not, TV rules say you can't point a gun to someone's head. I have 4 kids, please don't shoot me. And they're like, no, it's only if you're a human. I was like, but I'm a human. They're like, no, you're a monster, so we can shoot you in the face. I was like, but I'm really a human. And it's a real gun. And people have died. So that was awesome.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Mark Shepard.
Hello. Okay, first of all, I'm very glad you didn't get shot.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I had a question. I know since Abaddon was it was a demon possessing this young woman. And so it's very, very possible, although the demon's gone, that the body of said woman would come back to be possessed by something else. Do you think they would do it so that Crowley would be in your body? Because we all know he likes... Oh, that sounded rough.
Ew.
Because
I love Mark, but not that much.
Because we all know at one point he went into the body of a woman and had some fun.
I know. I told him. I was like, "You look good as a woman, Shep." I don't think Josie would, so Abaddon could come back, but I think the more interesting storyline is Josie with her, I think we talked about this the other day too, with her knowledge of the men of letters, her sort of, maybe waking up, not having Abaddon possessing her, and working with the boys. I think that would be more interesting. And also, the whole campaign they did, Abaddon versus Crowley. Well, I knew I wasn't going to win that one. They've got Mark. He's been on the show for a long time. So I don't understand why it became a competition. And I think that there was a lot more story to tell. And I feel like that sort of trumped, her storyline and development. So it didn't actually end up being developed any further.
Okay, I just really want you to come back on the show. I don't care. You can play a teapot.
You don't care how?
We
can, yeah. They've done some pretty interesting things. I mean, I was like, oh, well, they've killed me a bunch of times. I did tell them they should keep me around for therapy purposes. I was like, you could get out all your mommy issues out on me. Call me bad names, chop me up, light me on fire. It's very cathartic.
Woohoo!
It's quite the checklist. Call me names, shoot me, light me on fire.
Chop my head off.
Oh, the creepy hand.
Cut my arms off, yeah. I'll take one for the team, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All these shows that you've been on, a lot of them have a lot of special effects, post-production stuff, a lot of stuff that you as the actor don't see. What's your process for trying to react to something that's going to be put in weeks later? And did you get better at it? Like when you first had to do like a CGI thing and someone says, you got to be reacting to this big thing and you don't know what it is. And after like a couple seasons on Stargate, I'm guessing like there's just so much every day that was put in after the fact. So how did that go?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things they did with Stargate that they wanted to do with Universe that they didn't do with the other two was they didn't want acting human aliens. They wanted everything to be graphic. And so there was a process for that we used. Most of that stuff was green screen, like everything in the on the observatory deck. I mean, it was like from here to the front row was just the soundstage, and then it was just a green screen that we stared at. My imagination's never as good as what they end up doing. But the nice thing about it, and this is generally where you build, trust in your team. Bless you. We would feed off of each other, and so Stargate particularly, the directors were really good about calling out action. So like we're in a shuttle scene, and because there's so many people in the scene, Peter DeLuise is one that comes to mind. He's a long-running Stargate director. And so he would go through it as we're in the scene and be like, okay, and you guys, hit a meteor, and we're like, yeah, So he would call it out, and then we're all on the same page. And the same thing with Supernatural. I mean, if there's something that's big and actiony and requires a lot of graphics, I always ask, just walk me through it, shout it out, I got you. If you leave it up to your own timing, it can maybe get confusing. So it's a team effort.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hello. Are you on Twitter?
No, I was checking. I was just gonna ask that if Abaddon did come back, what would be some of the first things you think would be on her to-do list?
Oh, I think she just liked messing with the guys. I think Rowena. I think she would team up with Rowena. That'd be good, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Get rid of Crowley. Yeah. Then I'd get to work with Ruthie every day. I love Ruth. Huh? Yeah. 2 gingers, except for not, but I could. That's easy. Yeah. I think that would be fun. I think, and they need some more girls. Yeah. So that's what they do. Try and get rid of Crowley.
And I just had one other thing. About the end of the season that just happened, how would Abaddon deal with the darkness?
Oh, good question. I don't know. What do you think would happen?
She's from just a little bit early, after them, so she might handle it a little better than the average demon.
Yes, she would.
I think she'd kick it in the pants.
Yeah, she would.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hey.
Hi there. Obviously, when you've joined shows like Stargate and ended up doing effectively new roles, what's it like taking on the role of Black Canary in Smallville, having to step into a character that's existed for as long as it has? And were you familiar with that character beforehand as well?
So the audition I had for Smallville was a blind audition, meaning they didn't tell me who the character was. And so I think my audition scene, if you guys remember, there was a scene in the elevator with Erica, and we're talking about the Green Arrow. But I had no idea that it was the Black Canary, and I did not know who the Black Canary was. And so they called me and they pinned me for the role, and then they were like, they're still not going to tell you who it is because it's this, secret character that's coming on the show. And I was like, well, how am I going to prepare? And so then they finally told me, and I Googled her, and the first thing I was like, oh, I have to wear that? I've had kids. And so I did read a handful of the graphic novels. Actually, I find I think that's an easier way to develop a character because there's so much information out there. There's different, versions of her, but the sense of who she is as a character is pretty solid throughout all of the renditions of her. And so I loved her. I thought they could have done more with her. They were talking about an Arrow spinoff then years ago with Justin, and it just never ended up happening. But they had high hopes for that character, and then they kind of just didn't develop her. I used to say they would booty call me. They'd bring me in for the opener and the mid-season and the closer, and I'm like, but there's no storyline, guys. One of my favorite stories from Smallville is I was shooting Doomsday, the episode Doomsday, and it was a read script, so it wasn't emailed out, and they had to hand deliver it to me. And so I was on Stargate that morning. I was 3 months pregnant, so I was really tired. So I started at Stargate at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I worked until like 2 o'clock, and then Smallville picked me up, and I went over to Smallville to work. And I had this line that I had just been given the day before. Ready? We shot this at 3 o'clock in the morning. I should be able to impact the scan shift frequency sailing they use as safeguards and directly route thermal safe algorithms to embed frequency anomaly into the surface area and subsequently any hardware. Yeah, I can do it. And they kept, yeah, I can do it. And now it's a permanent scar in my brain. I could not remember that line to save my life. And I'm on set, and I was like, I told the props guy, I'm like, just put it in the folder. Just put it in the folder, I'll read it. So I read it on Tom's coverage and on Justin's coverage, and then when it got to my coverage, Justin's like, there's no way they're gonna let you read it. Come here. And we did like word by word. He was like, I should be able to. And we did that for like an hour. It was exhausting, but I remembered it. Forever.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
That was awesome. Hi.
I'm a father of four, and I understand you're a mother of four.
Yes,
how do
I
you
am.
How do you balance, work and kids and family?
I feel like I have the best of both. I love being a working mom. I think 90% of the time I'm a stay-at-home mom. I wear, yoga pants and my hair in a bun and run around and, take my kids to practices and whatever else. Occasionally I get to travel all over the world and do this, and I usually take a kid with me. We have mommy trips. So yeah, each kid gets a good one every year. We're on kind of a rotation. Occasionally I'm like, okay, you've been to London, so we're gonna skip you, but you get the trip to Paris. And they love it. It's great. It is just that, it's balance. I personally think it's really important. It doesn't go without its problems. We have to have conversations of like, okay, mommy has to work because we have to eat. And I don't feel bad about that. I actually am very proud of the fact that I'm able to balance a career and a family. And but it's managing expectations, and it's just being realistic.
Excellent. Thanks.
Thank you. Hey.
Hi. On set of Supernatural, your character, Abaddon, a lot of the times she was covered in blood or injuries, and at some point she had stitches all around her neck because her head had been cut off. How long did it usually take to do all of that?
Not long at all, surprisingly. They do a lot of blood on that show. I don't know if you've noticed, but they're pretty good at their blood. They've got like blood kits. It's hilarious. It's like dirty blood, dried blood, demon blood, like this whole kit of blood versions. The stitching, it's a prosthetic, and so I only went once to the prosthetic shop where they make all the prosthetics, and they did my measurements and matched my skin tone, and then it kind of arrives on set in like a pizza box. And they've got like 8 of the neck things or whatever, and wrist things. So my regular hair and makeup, I always joke because, at home I'm a stay-at-home mom, and when I get to go to work, I get to go hang out with my girlfriends in the makeup trailer, and we talk. It's so fun. I feel like an adult. So I usually go in, they set my hair, that takes like 30, 40 minutes, and then we do my makeup, that's like another 30 minutes, and then I go get my prosthetics on, that's like another 30 minutes, and then I go back and set my hair. It's like 2 hours.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but it's so fun. I don't know, and sometimes they'll come up to me like Jensen one time, I think I was in my trailer for like 4 hours, and he came and he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, for what? He's like, we haven't gotten to you. You've been in your trailer. I'm like, oh, I read a book. I took a nap and I talked to my mom. This is the best day ever. Don't be sorry. Yeah. He's like, okay, have a great day. Hey, what's up?
Hi. Sort of off topic. What was it like to be on Dawson's Creek like 10 years ago?
Oh, Dawson's Creek with Pacey.
You were on the creek?
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
When were you on the creek?
It was my first job. Yeah.
The first thing I ever marathoned, because marathoning didn't happen way back in the day, was Dawson's Creek on TBS on a long weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had not really watched Dawson's Creek when it was on.
Yeah.
We won't get into the hows and whys because people are probably big fans, and I am now too, so whatever. But yeah.
So save your judgment if you were judging, okay? Yeah, I had a small part.
There's just the girlfriends hanging out in the trailer doing hair and talking with microphones.
So everyone can hear. I was on Dawson's Creek. I had a one-night stand with Pacey. It was great.
Yeah.
Great. Now the Canadian guy, Josh. Yeah, it was my first TV job. It was it was a very small part. It's called a co-star, which is just like a one little thing. It was literally 1 or 2 scenes, and that was it. He forgot my name, so I made fun of his name. It's great. My hair looked great though.
I know that episode. That's the one where they're making the movie.
That's me. I don't know. I don't.
It's the
I was just
episode
in the
where
one
Pacey
scene.
and Audrey get together, just in case.
Yes. Yeah. Is that Busy's character? Yeah. That's right. Okay. So there. Dawson's Creek was awesome.
Yeah.
It shoots in.
We just had another fangirl moment with Missy on the stage.
Yes, I did.
But I had the power of speech this time.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was fun. It shoots in Raleigh, and it's beautiful. And again, it was my first TV job, and I was like, they gave me like a basket of like good stuff, like soaps and candles and food. And now that's kind of customary, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is so neat. So my agent sent me flowers. I always cry when people send me flowers. I don't know why. I'm like, so nice. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the answer.
That was awesome.
Thank you. You're right. Guerrilla filmmaking was the episode title. You're right. No, because they were making the movie. Now I remember. It's all coming back to me. Actually, the other day I was buying treats for my dog at Petco, and this woman was like, "Guerrilla filmmaking," and no. It wasn't that one. It was True Calling. I did an episode of True Calling. That was my first like guest star role, and she named the episode, and I was like, "Huh?" And she's like, and she's like, True Calling. And I was like, really? That show you know me from? Okay. Whatever. Because I usually get like, did we go to college together? I'm like, no, I'm on your favorite show that you don't tell anybody you watch. It's me, the devil.
Hi. Oh, that was loud. Okay. So you've been on multiple sets for multiple different shows. So I was just wondering what it's like which cast and which crew you liked working with the most. Like which one was the most fun to work with or the most efficient to work with and why?
I mean, when it's all very professional. I've never worked on a set that's, amateur or unprofessional, so all of them are great. The nice thing when you walk into a show that's so well established, like Supernatural or like Smallville or Stargate, there is a rhythm, and there's the crews that work together for so long. They really know each other well, and they're very efficient, and so it's nice to work on shows that everyone respects each other. They kind of get out of each other's way, but still support each other and get along. And really, people who don't get along and who aren't great at what they do, they get weeded out really quickly. And there's very few of those because as professionals, you have to be a professional or you don't work, right? So yeah, it's fun. I mean, I have a particular fondness for Supernatural just because we as a cast are so close outside of work. We do conventions together all over the world, and I just feel like I have like this squad of big brothers, and they're the best. I love them.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, me. Okay. So I didn't know you were on Dawson's Creek, so now I'm jealous because you got to hang out with Pacey.
Yeah. I had dinner with Josh that night too. He's a very nice guy.
I know, right? So
And he's cute.
Yes, he is. So Joey. Okay. So my question is, I know you have 4 kids, which I did not know till about 10 minutes ago. And you seem like a really sweet lady. So I was wondering, have you ever thought of like hosting a children's show? Because I think you'd be good at it.
Thank you. I have a lot of friends who are on Disney shows, and my kids are like, why can't you get on a Disney show, Mom? I'm like, well, maybe one day. I don't know. I don't think I can play the mom of a teenager just yet. Maybe I can. I don't know. I almost have a teenager. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that'll come.
I think it should. You should get your agent to get on that.
Okay. I'll do it.
Okay.
Maybe it could be, I could just start with my kids.
Yes.
See like a variety hour with my kids. They're quite
Yes.
entertaining.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The cartoon in my head just had a whole Brady Bunch sequence. And
Yeah. Except for I only have 4, not 6. I have a dog.
oh, we can put him in a matching costume.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's still time to have more kids. I did want 6. That was my goal. 4 sounds good. I have 2 boys, 2 girls. Everyone's healthy. Why mess with it? Right? Oh. Hey.
How are you again? She led into kind of my question. Dream jobs, dream characters, dream opportunities maybe missed. What sort of ones that you would want to be on Game of Thrones or something like that? Or would you...
Yeah.
Dumb question, sorry.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shows that I'm like, I didn't even get to audition. Vikings. I love Vikings. Such a great show. Game of Thrones is phenomenal. I don't know what other. I love The Affair. Such a beautiful show. There's so many. There's so many things I want to do. I think that's, actors are never, we don't want just one job. We want a bunch of them. I did just test for a show this year, which was a procedural. It was the new Criminal Minds show, and I didn't get it. And I was like, man, that would have been the best job, just as a practical job. But I don't know. There's so many. There's a lot of shows. I was just up for Powers to play this cool new character on Powers, which is on PlayStation, and it went to Trisha Helfer, which I think she'll be great at this character. But yeah, that happens a lot where you kind of read these great scripts and you're perfect for it, and it's between you and someone else, and sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Yeah. Thanks. Hey.
Hi. You said yesterday that there was like a lot of pranking and stuff on Supernatural, but they never pranked you. I was just wondering if you have any good like stories about Supernatural, like from the cast.
Pranking?
Yeah.
When you were an innocent bystander.
Yeah, like not necessarily pranking, but like just good funny stories.
They're just funny guys. Oh, I do have a funny story, not really to do with them, but about them. We were in London at this event, and I went to the bathroom, and I was coming back from the bathroom, I was walking down the hallway, and there was this girl, and I'm walking past, and she's like in the corner, like, and I'm like, oh, poor thing, I wonder what happened to her. And I'm walking along, and there's another one on the other side of the hallway, and she's like, I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Oh my gosh, I should stop and see if these people are okay. And there's another one. I'm like, what the hell is happening? Jensen was walking right in front of me. He was just like sauntering by with his little bow legs, I get in the green room, I'm like, do you know what just happened? He was like, what? You want a drink? I was like, yeah, you just made a bunch of girls cry. I just walked in your wake. And he was like, oh, no idea. Like, poor baby, no idea. He just drives people crazy.
A wake of tears.
A wake of like everything. I don't know if it was just tears. It was like a whole bodily emotion. Poor babies. That's what happens. And then another time I was on stage doing a panel, and they just came up to say hi to me, and they do that a lot. They're nice guys. And so Jensen came up, and we talked for a second, and then Jared came up, and as soon as Jared came up, he's walking away, and I hear like all the cameras, and I was like, they just took like 1,000 pictures of your ass. It's all over Twitter. They're fun guys. They're really they are really great, wonderful men. They all are. Misha, Mark, Jared Jensen, those guys. Hey.
Hi. I just wonder if you have any interesting stories about any auditions, ones that went really well, maybe not so well.
I used to have sort of this. I lost for a period of time in my career the passion in my work. And I remember I was having a conversation with a couple friends on different occasions who went through the same thing. We kind of do these things in our life. And he told me this great story about how he had this bad attitude, like, I have an audition on Paramount. And he walks on and he's sort of begrudging and he sees another actor there who's like this Tony Award-winning actor, super famous. And he's like, why am I even here? And he says to the guy, like, hey, what's up? And sort of had this attitude. And the guy says to him, what's the matter? And he's like, I just don't know why I'm here. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to get this job. This is so stupid. And he goes, the other guy, he goes, I'm actually really excited. I haven't had an audition in 2 weeks and I'm an actor. I get to go in there and be an actor today. And I was like, wow, that's so true. So, I try and look at every opportunity as an opportunity, not just to get a job, but to discover and to have fun and to explore and to create. And that's what I do, whether it's on set or in a small room. And the audition process is very weird. It's not at all how we work. You're reading with someone who's off camera, who's not an actor. I rely heavily on actors. There's a lot of intimacy when you're in a scene with someone, and it's sort of like a game of catch. And you don't get that in a room. You certainly don't get it in a test situation when there's like 40 executives sitting in the dark behind the camera and you're super nervous. And it's just a very weird way to get a job because it has nothing to do with the job that we do. So I think auditions are weird, but I'm trying to make them more fun. My audition, though, for Abaddon, interestingly enough, well, first when it came through my inbox, I was like, oh, this show's still on? Because, number one, obviously I didn't watch it, but number two, demographically I'm right for a job. I should have read for it like 1,000 times before I got the job, before I booked it. So it was weird that I had never auditioned for it in 8 years. And so then I read the audition scene, and in the audition scene, I get stabbed in the back, shot in the face, and my head chopped off. That was my audition scene. And I was like, welcome. I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. I'm never going to get this job. And I just went in and had fun, and I got it. Yeah. Hey.
Hey. You had mentioned earlier that you had been pregnant during the filming of Stargate Universe. Is that why they wrote in your character as Lieutenant Johansson as being pregnant? Because I felt that they really didn't explore that very well and talk about it much, and your relationship with Colonel Young wasn't really explained very well either.
Yeah, it's the best way to start a new job. I got pregnant just shooting the pilot, and I called the guys, the producers, into my trailer, and I was like, so I felt sick this weekend, and I was really tired. And I looked over, and Rob Cooper was like, congratulations. Because he has 3 children, he knows. And they were like, we didn't really, we thought it was an interesting storyline to tell, being stuck on a spaceship, what would happen if someone were pregnant. We didn't really want it to be you, but it kind of makes sense that it's you because you had the affair with Young. I actually liked it because I felt like it gave TJ a storyline. The affair storyline was for him. Yeah. And this one gave her something. And I think it softened a lot of what was going on, and I think it added some real elements to the storyline. So I was quite happy. They were very respectful of me as a pregnant woman, as a mother. They were very careful to make sure I was comfortable at all times. It was great, and the timing was perfect because we wrapped in November. I had the baby in December. We didn't come back till March. So it was, if I planned it, which I didn't, it couldn't have been planned any better.
Yeah, because they already had so many things going on and so many problems. I was just wondering why they incorporated that into the...
Yeah, why I got pregnant. It's life. Because at first I was really nervous, and I was like, oh no. And then I was like, well, you're a full-grown woman who's married. It's not like you're 14 on a Disney show. So then I didn't feel bad anymore. I was like, these things happen. Hey.
Hello. obviously you've been paying attention as on set and to the way films are developed and crews get along and all that. Have you considered branching out into some of the creative process yourself? Directing, producing, creating?
Yeah, I think it's kind of inevitable. I would like to shadow and learn to direct. I've been talking to Mark about that. I talked to Richard Spade Jr. because he just directed an episode of Supernatural. It's a big job. Directing is a big job. It's not like an actor where you just kind of show up for a few hours here and there and say your lines and go home. Like it's, you know, weeks of preparation, shooting, and then post-production. It's a very big job. It's a great job. That would be where I'd be most interested, or in creative producing. I did a comic book with MTV a couple years ago called Agent Mom, and that was fun. It was a creative production on my part, and I have a team, my comic book writers and my artists and everything. They're out of the UK. And we did a 112-page graphic novel that MTV had a site a while back called Geek, and we released 4 pages sort of episodically every week, every Tuesday, and that was fun. And we've since written a pilot and have shopped it a little bit. So yeah, definitely I've got feelers out there. My husband does a lot of producing, and he's got shows that has packaging right now. I also have 4 kids. It's a big job. I do a lot of laundry. So every once in a while, I look at Felicia Day and I'm like, oh my gosh, how does she do all of that? And I'm like, oh, she doesn't have 4 kids. Right. She could. I'm not saying she couldn't. I'm just saying. Anyways. Yeah.
So
it's a lot of work.
They're flashing the cards at us that have the times on them.
I told you what to do with those cards. I wanted him to like
ring call girl
yes,
across the stage.
Yes.
Vanna, but walking.
Yes.
So maybe we could all put our hands together in a fantastic thank you.
Thank you guys so much. I love your city. It's so beautiful. It's so nice to come to Halifax, and I genuinely enjoy doing these things. I'm going to send lots of my friends your way.
Hal-Con.